What's going on, guys? It's your boy Jacob from Topside MMA, and today we're going over my best bets for UFC Paris Imavov versus Borralho. So we're going to break down every single fight. I'm going to give you all my individual bets on every fight, and then we're going to go over parlays at the very end, so you guys know the deal. Let's get right into it. First up, we got Shauna Bannon versus Sam Hughes. I got this involved in some later parlays at the very end we're going to talk about, so I don't have any single bets on this as of yet. I thought about possibly the Sam Hughes minus 3.5 because there's a chance that she could get a finish on Shauna Bannon, but in case she doesn't, she still could get a 30-27. But I have enough action on Sam Hughes that we're going to talk about later in this video that I'm going to stay off it for now because it's the first fight of the card too. Next up, we got Andreas Gustafsson versus Rinat Fakhretdinov. Same thing here. I have no action on this. I have some action in a later parlay we're going to talk about. But the one thing I wanted to point out about this is I am considering a potential live bet on Andreas Gustafsson just because we know Rinat is going to start out really strong. He's the more technically sound fighter, so he's going to look the best early on. We know his cardio is a concern, and he starts to slow down later on in fights. So let's say Rinat comes out here looking super strong in the first round. His money line might completely jump. It might shoot the other way. It might become a big favorite. And at that point, a slight little play on Andreas Gustafsson might be worth some type of value for a little sprinkle play, just because I think Gustafsson, he's going to be able to really ramp up the longer the fight goes on, and he's going to look better in the second and third rounds, especially where Rinat starts to slow down. So if there's a chance, or if the situation happens to where Andreas Gustafsson is a big underdog towards the end of the first round, maybe early on in the second round, it could be worth a potential live play, just a potential line I'm looking at for you guys I want to tell you guys about. But who knows? Maybe it's competitive the whole time. This might not actually come to fruition. I just want to let you guys know ahead of time. Now, Tavares versus Bryczek. The line was just too wide for me. It is tightening a bit. I know Tavares' money line is like minus 210 at this point, but it was just too wide enough for me to the point where maybe Robert hits Brad with something huge and knocks him out. That could happen. It's just too much risk for me. There's too many uncertainties here for me, so I just wanted to avoid this one altogether. Now, next up, Sam Patterson and Trey Waters. I got some action on this later on with the parlays we're going to talk about. I like Sam Patterson a lot. I was considering a Sam Patterson by submission prop, but the line was just too wide for me. You know, I think Sam Patterson could probably go out here and potentially get a knockout. He could win by decision. He could win by submission. He could win by any means. So I'm not really super confident in which way he might win this fight. I think he should very, very well win this fight. But in terms of picking the props, the lines were just a bit too far for me. Now, the one line, I didn't put it on here, but the one line that I was considering was the Sam Patterson finish only, decision, no action, just because the line was a lot tighter on that. I think it was minus like 130 or something, or 120. And I kind of like that because I don't think Trey Waters has enough power to be a threat to Sam Patterson. I don't think Trey Waters is going to knock out Sam Patterson. He's definitely not going to submit him. I think realistically, if Trey Waters were to win this fight, it would probably be by decision. He's just not a huge power puncher. He's more of a lengthy counter striker. So if Sam Patterson gets hurt at any point in this, he can just go right to the grappling. I don't think it's going to be a problem for him at all. So I like the finish only for Sam Patterson, but I just haven't got to it yet. I forgot to put it on here, but that's another line that I like, and I actually might put something on that depending on how that line changes at all. So I like that for this one, but we'll talk about Sam Patterson. I got him in some later parlay, so we'll talk about that at the end. Next up, Marcin Tybura versus Ante Delija. Now, I like Ante Delija finish only prop here. I have not put anything on it yet, but I'm considering, depending on how the earlier fights go, because I have a good amount of action on Sam Hughes and Sam Patterson, so I'm waiting on those to go and end. If those end and they go well, then I might have a little bit of a sprinkle on this prop, Ante Delija finish only. Marcin Tybura, he's coming in with extra weight that we haven't seen him. That's not normal. Like I said in my last video, he's only weighed this heavy 2 out of 25 fights in his professional career, so that tells me he's wanting to grapple. He's wanting to take it to the ground. The thing is, though, Delija is pretty damn durable. He can last. You're going to have to kill him to get him out of there. And I think Tybura, he's not going to have the cardio to really put on a super intensive ground and pound type of, or at least go for a ground and pound type of finish for 3 full rounds. I don't think he has the cardio to do that. I think Delija, he's going to survive an early storm, and I think he could be very live for a late finish in this fight. So I like the Delija finish only at minus 170. I just don't think Tybura is going to get anything on Delija, because I've seen Delija so hurt and so rocked and so just beaten up, and he will never give up. He never quits. You literally have to kill him to get him out of there. So I just don't think Tybura is dangerous enough at this stage in his career to really be a huge threat to Ante Delija. So I was considering this prop because at the same time, if Tybura wins a decision here, if he just wet blankets his way to a decision, I won't be mind blown. But then at least that the finish only prop, that would give us a refund in that type of situation. So the other thing I'm considering is potentially a live bet on Ante Delija. Same thing here is like if Tybura, let's say he gets a wet blanket approach going early, he's able to hug Delija and just hold him down and lands a takedown early on and controls him for that first round. That doesn't really mean a whole lot to me. You know, Tybura might start to fade later on, and Delija he's very durable. He's a tank. You're gonna have to kill him to get him out of there, like I said. So at this money line skyrockets after Tybura just laying some wet blanket hugging on the ground for the first round. I think Delija might be an actual decent spot for a live money line play, depending on how line or wide that line is. So that's just something I'm looking for sure that I wanted to point out in this video. But like I said, in the other ones too, these are just potential scenarios that I'm going to be looking for in a live bet. They might not actually happen, but it's something I'm looking out for. Now, Oumar versus Brendson Ribeiro. I have a unit. Now, this is probably, looking back, this is going to be a play. But before this fight happens, you know, I'm saying this ahead of time, you know, obviously before the fights have started. If this bet hits, I'm going to feel like a genius. If this bet misses, I'm going to feel like a moron. And like some bets, it's like, if it hits, you know, I feel good. If it misses, you know, like sometimes you can't control things. This is a controllable thing. I'm willingly taking the extra risk here. And I feel like this is either going to age like fine wine or like milk. But I'm taking Oumar and over 1 takedowns landed, same game parlay for -180. Now, Oumar is a -500 favorite. Oumar has landed a takedown in every single one of his UFC fights so far against guys with much better takedown defense than Brendson Ribeiro. Brendson Ribeiro has a 0% takedown defense, and Oumar is a certified grappler. That's going to be his best path to win this fight. Brendson Ribeiro's best chance is going to be swinging haymakers on the feet. If Oumar is smart, he's going to go straight to the grappling immediately. Now, I'm blanking on who Brendson Ribeiro fought in his last fight, the undefeated, or not undefeated, or was he undefeated? The Russian with some bombs in his hands. This is gonna piss me off. I'm looking this up really quick. But in that fight, you know, there were no takedowns in that fight, but he got knocked out so fast. That's not really a worry for me in this one, because I just know Oumar does not have that knockout power. I'm still blanking on this damn dude's name. What was his name? Mirzakhanov. Holy shit. Sorry, it is late. It is 11:20 p.m. here, and I'm recording this video. I'm extremely tired, a bit exhausted at this point. But, so, sorry for being a little behind here. But Mirzakhanov, he is undefeated. 15-0, 11-0 to the knockout. That was his last loss. And yeah, there were no takedowns. It was very quick. You know, nothing was able to really develop in that fight. Oumar is not that level of power puncher, man. Oumar is a grappler. He wants to take it to the ground. And like I said, he's gotten a takedown in every single professional fight before that. And the thing is, too, if you look at Brendson Ribeiro before that, because yes, he did get knocked out in the first round. It was pretty quick. Before that, he had a round 2 submission over Diar Nurgaze. He had a split decision before that. He had a mixed decision before that. And the round 1 knockout before that was against Zhang Mingyang, who's an absolute crash out, who's willing to stand and bang with anyone. So Oumar is just not that guy, and I'm not worried about Oumar just starching him right away. Now, Oumar he did not go to the wrestling immediately against Alonzo Menefield when he really should have, but he ended up getting a takedown in that last minute, or like last, I don't know, 30 seconds. It was towards the very end of that first round. He ended up started to grappling, and he grappled all throughout the second round. I think it'll be the same thing here. You know, the line for this was Oumar at 1.5 over under for the takedowns landed. So I like just getting 1 here. I will say though, this is a bit more risky. I get why this line was just enough to where like it got me. I saw it and I was like, all right, I'll take the bait. I will take the bait. I will take the risk on this, because there have been times in the past where I've been burned. I'm trying to think of the last one. It was Fatima Klein when her last fight. She was a huge favorite, but her prop for her to win and land 1 takedown just cut the line just drastically. What did she do? She like knocked her out in the 3rd round, I think, and didn't get a single takedown, even though she's like a grappler and that's her bread and butter. She did not go for it. So like I said, I've been burned by these in the past, but this week for the -500 Oumar his best way to win here is by grappling. He is a grappler. That's been his bread and butter throughout his career. And Brendson Ribeiro has a 0% takedown defense. Anyone who tries to take him down can take him down. The only way I see this not happening is, 1, if Oumar just comes out here and starches Brendson Ribeiro instantly, which I don't see happening. Or 2, if they decide to box at range for 15 minutes, which I would be very surprised if that happens too. So I like this play. It cuts that minus 500 all the way down to minus 180. I am taking 1 unit as a play for this, but like I said, it's definitely a little bit more risky. And like I said, this is either going to age very well or very poorly, but we will have to see come tomorrow. So next up, we got William Gomis versus Robert Ruchala. Got nothing on this. Yeah, I really don't have anything on this. I don't want to overextend here on William Gomis. Now, the one line that I did have here as something I was just considering as a potential parlay piece, kind of caught me off guard there. But the one thing I'm considering as a potential parlay piece is the over 2.5 rounds, minus 298. Yeah, it's extremely wide. That line is very wide. But William Gomis, he is a decision merchant, man. He's going to go long. He wants to play his fight. He wants to, I don't want to say matador it, but he wants to play the smart fight, and he doesn't want to take too many chances. I think this easily goes to a decision. Now, it's too wide to where you can't really play it as a single. I don't think the value is to play it as a single. I think if you're looking for a decent parlay piece, I think the value's there. I don't think it's too bad for the value. So I just wanted to include that here. Also, potential live bet on William Gomis. It just depends on if Robert Ruchala really comes out here aggressive early on and starts to have any amount of success. I could see this line tightening. You know, let's say it's 1-1 going into the 3rd round. I could see that line tightening up quite a bit, considering I think he's minus 265, I think, right now on the line. So if this line tightens up to where it's like a pick-em, I probably will put something on William Gomis as a live money line if it gets there. I don't think it really will. Kind of like I said, there's a chance Gomis just comes out here and styles on him for all 3 rounds. It's close, but Gomis is clearly ahead, and he's a crazy huge favorite. It's not worth putting a sprinkle on Ruchala. You know, it's not worth it. If it gets that big of a favorite, I wouldn't even waste the money trying to chase a little sprinkle on Ruchala if he's a plus 1,000 underdog or something like that. I just don't see it. I just think the value would be if Ruchala starts to have some success and the Gomis money line tightens up, then maybe a little sprinkle on Gomis could be a good play. But yeah, that's just if that happens. So next up, Kaue Fernandes versus Harry Hardwick. I got a money line bet on Kaue Fernandes, 1 unit at minus 162. I know this line has really started to get a lot wider. It's like minus 200 at this point, but at the same time, I like Kaue Fernandes. He's a good striker. He really impressed me in his last fight. I picked against him in his last fight, and he completely blew it out of the park. Super impressive. His leg kicks are devastating. And I think a short notice Harry Hardwick stepping up on couple hours or a day or so notice. Or I guess it's probably been couple days. Yeah, anyway, super short notice. He's stepping up. He has to step up a weight class, and he's just not very impressive from what I see from him. So give me the UFC veteran, or maybe not veteran, but the guy with UFC level experience who's been able to prove himself to be able to hang. I think this is likely going to be a striking match back and forth, and give me Kaue Fernandes. If he has a threat of the wrestling, if Kaue has the threat coming back at him, he can just start chopping away at that lead leg. In any offensive wrestling threat of Harry Hardwick is going to be diminished if he starts battering that lead leg of his. So I like Kaue Fernandes. He has some serious weapons on him. Yeah, the cardio has been a bit of a maybe concern in the past, but Harry Hardwick, yeah, he does have probably the better cardio, but he's stepping up on very short notice up a weight class, so I'm not super worried about that in this. I like Kaue Fernandes, so 1 unit at minus 162 on the odds. Next up, Pitbull versus Kata. Yeah, this one got canceled. Next up, we got Axel Sola versus Reese McKee. I got half a unit on Reese McKee. I got it at plus 110. I put this bet in after I saw the weigh-in, because it looks like Axel Sola has this nasty staph infection on his chest. He did not look good. He seemed very tired, very worn out, very almost sick, even if you want to say that. So the fact that I think his best chance to win this will be to wrestle. If he has a staph infection, that's going to kill his cardio, kill his durability, and that's going to be a big issue for him. So this was almost like a plus EV bet for me. It's like getting Reese McKee going against a guy stepping up a weight class short notice. He might have a staph infection, and he has durability problems already with this chin that we've seen before in the past. Reese McKee has knockout power. He can knock people out. This just seemed like if this bet misses, shame on me. I'm not going to. This is a bet that I wouldn't be mad if it misses. The Oumar C and the takedown is one of those where it's like, I could have just avoided that. This is like, either way, I'm not going to be mad. I think it's a good value play, so I got a half unit on it. I'm not overextending, but I like it here. So that does it for this one. Now, next up, we got Borralho versus Mason Jones. I don't have anything in terms of straight money lines on this. I'm waiting. The Mason Jones money line keeps tightening and tightening and tightening and tightening and tightening. It keeps getting closer and closer and closer. I'm going to wait on this. Depending on how the earlier fights go, I might actually sprinkle money on Mason Jones. If I do, it would probably be half a unit money line straight up, and it'll probably be as tight as this line will get. It's at like minus 130 or minus 135 right now. If this gets to a pick'em line, I probably will throw a half unit on Mason Jones. I'm going to wait on this though. I know I don't have it on here, but I did want to say too, this I think will be a solid live betting opportunity. I know I don't have it in the yellow here, but I want to say that to you guys who are listening. This is a solid live betting opportunity. If either of these guys become a huge favorite or a huge underdog, and it's in like the second round, sprinkle the other side. Nothing crazy, just a sprinkle, maybe 0.05 units, maybe 0.1 units, something small that you don't mind losing, but at the same time, I think there'll be value there because this is going to be a back and forth match. Both of these guys are durable. They have the cardio to last. I think both of these guys are going to be very live throughout the entire 15 minutes that this fight likely goes. So if either of these guys become a huge favorite, especially early on in this fight, I would consider putting a little sprinkle in there. Now, the one bet I do have here, Mason Jones sub-only prop. Mason Jones is a BJJ black belt, judo black belt. He's a very accomplished grappler, and he's going to be the much better grappler than Borralho in this fight. So for minus 290, yes, I totally understand. Very wide line. This just almost felt like a no-brainer to me. Just like, if Borralho submits Mason Jones, then screw me. I don't care about losing that because that is just something I never, ever could have predicted. I feel like the odds for minus 290, I feel like it should be even wider than this. I think it's this tight because Mason Jones hasn't really gotten hardly any submissions throughout his career. I think out of his, 16 wins, he has 3 submissions. So it looks like on paper, like, oh, this guy can't grapple for shit. Mason Jones is a very high-level grappler. He just doesn't always fight to his strengths, and he doesn't always use the best fight IQ in his fights, and as a result, you don't see that many submissions on his record. But don't forget, Mason Jones is a very good grappler, and if anyone's getting a submission here, it's most definitely going to be Mason Jones. So I had to throw a little half unit on the Mason Jones sub-only prop. So if there's a knockout or it goes to a decision, you get a complete refund on your money. That's how this works, in case you don't know. But yeah, minus 290, half a unit. That's what I got on this one. Now, Modestas Bukauskas versus Paul Craig. I actually don't have shit on this one. I'm kind of avoiding it. Modestas Bukauskas, yes, he should come out here and just run through Paul Craig or just put on a striking masterclass for 15 minutes. There's just something that's telling me about this fight to lay light on it. Now, if there is some huge disaster, nightmare scenario where one of the bigger legs I have, like maybe Oumar shits the bed or Sam Hughes somehow loses, maybe I'll try to get back on Bukauskas here, try to kind of dig out of a hole. You don't want to you don't want to try and dig yourself out of a hole, because that's when you can really start to really just dig yourself down. But I would say if there's some really rocky road that we go through earlier on, maybe you could designate maybe half a unit to involve with Modestas Bukauskas if something bad happens. But if everything goes according to plan, I'm just going to take this one off completely. Maybe Modestas Bukauskas, maybe the over 1.5 line. I think if he knocks Paul Craig down, he's not going to want to follow him to the ground. So I do see this going a bit longer. Maybe over the 1.5 could be a decent play. But as of right now, laying low on this one. It's just really going to depend on the earlier fights of the night. Like I said, if there's some bumps in the road and some bets miss early on in the night, maybe might have to jump on Modestas Bukauskas, maybe in a little parlay. Maybe you could parlay that up with maybe a roofie line. Maybe you could parlay that up with Borralho versus Imavov over 3.5 rounds, maybe. It's kind of theory, but that's just kind of my thought behind this one, is not going into it with anything pre-fight before the other fights happen, but it could potentially be a get back spot. But I just want to say that to you guys, let you guys know kind of my thoughts behind it. But next up, we got BSD versus Ruffy. Now, I got a little action on Ruffy first round only. I think there's a chance Ruffy goes out here and just starches BSD on some Bobby Green head kick type shit. I could see that happening here. Now, realistically, I think the most likely outcome would be this to go a little bit longer than the first round. Maybe a Ruffy round 2 knockout. Ruffy round 2 knockout honestly seems like the most probable outcome here. But don't get me wrong, something else could happen. If BSD is to win this fight, it's if he is, because I know so many people were like going crazy, like, oh my God, Ruffy is lock of the century. How could you ever think BSD has a chance? BSD is complete dog shit. Like, if BSD is to win this fight, it's going to be extreme grappling pressure, hugging against the cage, wet blanket, the most boring shit you've ever seen. But by any means possible, if BSD is going to win this fight, he has to know the striking is just a no-go. His striking, he's going to be screwed on the feet. So if I'm thinking about what is BSD going to do if he's really sticking to a smart game plan, immediately grapple. I'm talking Marab level grappling here, just non-stop pressures. Even if you don't take him down at first, you keep trying and trying and trying and trying. So if that were to happen and he somehow breaks Mauricio Ruffy down, maybe it goes to a decision, maybe it goes long, he's not going to get him out of there in the first round. If anyone's getting starched in the first round, it's got to be Ruffy being the one who gets the knockout in the first round, you know what I mean? So that's why I like it. Minus 220 for Ruffy first round only. Literally, if this goes beyond the first round, you get a complete refund. I like this bet a lot. I almost thought about putting more on it. But so right now I only have half a unit at minus 220, but I really like this line. And the last thing I'll say about this one is I also like the Ruffy money line straight up, because now it's starting to get to some real value. Like when it was minus 200, I was like, maybe a good parlay piece, but not a single, maybe not a single individual bet. Maybe I'll like, it wasn't very enticing to me, but minus 148, this line is tightening and tightening and tightening. If this gets to a pick'em, I definitely will have some action on Ruffy. I'm saying that right now. Or if it gets damn close, if it gets to like a minus 115, minus 120, that's solid value on Ruffy. That's very solid value. Minus 148, it's just like, it's teasing me. It's teasing me at that minus 148. I haven't quite bit down on the hook yet, but at the same time, I'm eyeing it. If it gets a little bit closer, I might throw a little something on there, and I think it's good value, especially considering where that line was. It was minus 200 earlier, so I like that it's tightening. It's kind of dragging me in a little bit, and here, I mean, it's 11:35 right now for me, so the fight start tomorrow morning in about 12 hours, so this line could keep tightening and tightening and tightening. I don't know yet. I just wanted to tell you guys, if this line gets a lot closer, I will have something on Ruffy, but as of right now, I don't have anything besides that first round only prop. Now, Imavov versus Borralho, I don't have anything on this, but I do think it's going to be a good live betting spot. I think it's going to be a good potential hedge spot. If either of these guys become a big favorite, I see this fight going long. So if either guy becomes a plus 500 underdog, I definitely will be having a little sprinkle on them. I'm going to try and hedge this. If either guy starts to dominate, you can go put a little sprinkle on one, and if the lines flip, you can put a little sprinkle on the other, get a nice little hedge play going. I did that with, what was the last one I did it with? Whitaker and RDR, we had a nice hedge play on that one. Same thing here. I think this is going long. Either of these guys could easily become a big favorite. This line could swing as the fight goes on. If they get above plus 400, plus 500, I think it's worth a little sprinkle on either, and then you can try and hedge it the other way around. So that's what I'm looking at for this one. But in terms of pre-fight bets, I don't have anything on this one. Now, for the parlays, for my play of the week, I got Sam Hughes and Sam Patterson. I got one unit on them combined for minus 104. I've talked about this in my full card breakdown and my locks and traps. If you want to just hear my full breakdown for both of these fights, I'll go into a lot more detail there. I am tired. I'm not going to break them both down complete the full scope of things right now. But watch those videos if you want to hear my full breakdown and everything I have to say. But Sam Hughes and Sam Patterson, I like them both. I should have called it the Sam parlay. It's kind of funny. But yeah, I like them both. They should win here. I'm very confident in both of them. I like them a lot, and I don't like their opponents. I don't think their opponents are very great either. So it's kind of like a win-win. I think the person we're picking, the Sams, I think the Sams are very talented. I think they have a favorable matchup against their opponent, and I don't think their opponent is all that well-rounded, and I think they have gaps that the Sams can exploit. So I'll call it the Sam parlay, play of the week, minus 104, one unit total. And then I have another parlay, Sam Hughes money line, same thing, with Rinat Fakhretdinov versus Gustafsson over 1.5 rounds. These guys I will talk about this one though, because this is kind of separate to the breakdown of the fighters early on in the other videos. I like the over 1.5 round a lot in this. I forget what it was. It's like a perfect parlay piece. If it was like minus, I mean, it's wide. You can't play it as a single. It's like minus like 400, I think. But these guys are durable as shit. They have never been finished. Neither of them. and they're both wrestler grapplers. Like, they're going to be tight clinch work. These guys are going to just be going back and forth over who can control the other for the entire fight. So I'm not worried about some crazy fluke submission or some roughy, crazy, like spinning heel kick knockout. Like, these guys are going to be so tight and so close together, and neither of them are really going to be going for submissions here. It's going to be who can control the other against the cage. This is going to be like a wrestling, I don't want to say masterclass, but it's because, I mean, Gustafsson's pretty damn sloppy, but it's going to be a gritty, nitty-gritty battle. So I don't see either guy getting finished, especially under 1.5 rounds. So I think this fight definitely goes over 1.5. I think it goes over 2.5, but 1.5 just to play it safe because it's in a 3-leg parlay. I typically don't even like doing 3-leg parlays. I usually just like doing 2 legs because once you get to 3 and higher, the risk, the reward ratio is really not there for me. But anyway, I like this parlay. And then finally, we got Oumar C money line. So wrapping this one up, minus 110. I know we got 2 units on Oumar C, and this is either going to age really well or really badly. But I know Oumar C sold us the last time. But hopefully he's bouncing back. He took his first loss. He's finally realizing, okay, I need to know, or I now know what I need to do in order to win these damn fights. I'm not doing any dumb shit. He's not going to be a pussy. He's in his hometown with his people cheering for him. Oumar C should get the job done here. Oh, I'm like almost dreading this fight. But anyway, that's the parlay, minus 110, 1 unit on that. And then finally, I called the durability parlay. Reese McKee plus 7.5 alternate spread. Mason Jones plus 7.5 alternate spread. If these guys survive all 3 rounds, even if they lose, they're most likely going to cash both of these. So for minus 130, these guys are both extremely durable. Mason Jones is not getting finished by anyone. Yeah, he got knocked down by Ludovic Klein, but he wasn't able to get him out of there. He has good durability. And we've seen Reese McKee, he's been finished, twice? And one of them was years ago, and the other one was Khamzat Chimaev. So it's like Reese McKee is a durable SOB, and the guy that he's going against looks to have a staph infection, looks to have chin problems of his own, so it's not like he's just going to run through him and be super dominant. I think Reese McKee should be able to survive here. I think Mason Jones should be able to survive here. And yeah, this is why I like them both here. For minus 130, I got a half unit on it. I almost put the full unit on it, but I'm like, I have a decent amount of action on this card. This is one of my heavier cards. So I don't want to overextend too much on this, but I really do like that play a lot. I might end up putting a full unit on this. The more I look at it, I might just add another half unit to this because I do like this play a lot. I don't think Balaji Oki is that dangerous enough to get Mason Jones out of there. And let's say Mason Jones gets hurt at some point by Balaji Oki. He has the grappling advantage. He's the judo world practitioner, or a very high-level, accomplished, worldly judo practitioner and BJJ grappler. He can take it to the ground and keep surviving there. Reese McKee, he's going against a guy, short notice debut, stepping up, and he has a bad staph infection. He looked like shit. I don't know how his durability or his cardio is going to hold up. Reese McKee should be able to outdog him. He's going to have more power in the hands. So I might just have to put a full unit on this. But for now, it's a half unit. I can't keep rambling about this. I'm extremely tired. So thank you guys so much for watching. This does it for the betting breakdown for UFC Paris. It is almost midnight here for me, and I'm getting tired, but I'm super excited for these fights. I'm going to watch them tomorrow. Super excited for them. You know, it's been a long week, but I hope you guys have liked the videos. I hope you guys like this video. If you do, please drop a like, drop a comment, let me know, support the boy. I'm very tired here, so let me know. Like, drop some comments, drop some love, let me know, give me some feedback if you guys like the video, and let me know what bets you guys like too. Let me know your best plays, your most confident picks, your most confident leans. Let me know. I love hearing what you guys have cooked up and what bets you guys like, you know, because it's all, the more perspectives, the better. So let me know. I really love hearing what you guys got. So anyway, thank you guys so much for all the love. Thank you guys so much for all the support. Thank you guys for watching the video. Hoping to make you guys some money tomorrow. I hope you guys, your own bets cash too, along with these ones. So thank you guys once again. Let's make some money tomorrow. It's your boy Jacob from Topside MMA, and I'll see y'all soon. So peace.